Hi, this is Reggie from Greenscape. I just wanted to make a really quick video, mostly for my mum, to explain why I got air conditioning installed during the winter when it's horrible and freezing. So for me personally, I decided that I wanted to install air conditioning during the summer. The heat wave was pretty intense. I wasn't sleeping very well. And for me, the main driver really was my dog, who's a golden retriever and has lots and lots of hair, was panting and panting and panting every single night, and I felt so terrible about it. So I thought, I'm gonna have to do something about it. I was gonna wait until next summer, but then I realized actually there are lots and lots of reasons why I should do it now during the winter. So when I looked into it, air conditioning is actually one of the most efficient heating systems that you can possibly get. It seems to be completely unspoken about. Nobody seems to know about it because they look at air conditioning and they think of cooling in the summer, which is obviously great. But when you actually look into air conditioning for heating, the COP runs at about 4, which is a coefficient of performance, whereby essentially you put 1 unit of electricity in, how many units of heat do you get out? So in this case, you put 1 unit of electricity in and you get 4 units of heat out, which makes it pretty much, other than potentially air source, the most efficient heating system that you can possibly get. So it operates at about 400% efficiency when it's heating. So because an air conditioning system can operate at that 400% efficiency, essentially to work out its running costs, you can take your electricity unit rate and divide it by 4 in this case. So as mine is about 26p, every unit of heat that my air conditioning system is going to generate will be costing me about 6.5p. Roughly, depending on the system that you have, it will translate to about 30%-ish saving over mains gas and oil, about 60% over LPG, and about 75% over a direct electric heating system. So for me personally, it works out actually a bit better than that because I've got a solar and battery storage system. So during the summer, all of the cooling load that I'll be putting into my rooms is going to be powered from the sun, which is brilliant. And then during the winter, what I do is charge up my battery overnight on my cheap rate, which is about 8.5 pence. And then I'll use that power that's stored in my battery to run the air conditioning system. So because my unit rate is about 8.5p, I believe, per kilowatt hour at night, 1 unit of heat from the air conditioning system will be 2.125 pence per unit. And that's where it becomes a complete no-brainer. Over mains gas and oil, essentially you're saving on your heating 77%, over LPG 87%, over direct electric heating systems it will be about 92% saving. So the running costs really come into their own if you've already got a solar and battery storage system. So the other major benefit for me is that I can have a much more targeted approach to heating. I've got a 4-bedroom house and I genuinely spend about 90% of my time in 2 of the rooms. Both of those rooms now have air conditioning, which means that when I go into those rooms, I can crank up the temperature to whatever I want it to be and not really worry about the running costs. And then the rest of my house, I can reduce the temperature of my whole home heating system quite significantly and save quite a lot of money in doing so because I don't need to heat every single room in the house all the time to 22 degrees if that's where I want it to be. So for me, the targeted approach of heating that air conditioning gives you actually works really well. I understand that's not going to be the same for everyone, but generally speaking, I do think that most people have 1 or 2 rooms that they spend most of their time in. So that's my plan of attack in terms of targeting the heating better for my lifestyle in order to reduce my running costs. Probably the last major benefit of installing air conditioning in the winter is the flexibility in temperatures that you can actually get that you don't get with any other heating system. So I'm a bit strange and I like to sleep in about 16 degrees. I want it to be freezing cold and I want to see my breath. However, when I get up in the morning, there is nothing that makes me not want to get up and makes me want to stay in bed more than getting out into 16-degree temperature. So what I've done is all night my air conditioning system will run at 16 degrees. And then when I wake up, it's set to increase the room temperature to 22 degrees so that I can get up and it's all lovely and it's nice. The thing that surprised me most is the responsiveness of that temperature change. Literally, this room, which is fairly big, will go from 16 degrees to 22 degrees within 3 minutes max, something like that. So again, it comes back to the usability for my lifestyle, being strange and wanting to sleep in the freezing cold. It really, really works. So obviously there are loads of other benefits of the air conditioning. The air purification is pretty significant, gets rid of nearly all of the dust in the room, allergens, all of that kind of stuff, sorts out your damp, etc, etc, etc. However, I just wanted to make a really quick video for my mum mostly to explain why I had air conditioning installed in the winter and that I'm not completely crazy.